Football has become a little bit different over the course of the last few months. Due to the financial implications of the godforsaken pandemic that's shown no signs of going away anytime soon, football, like many other industries around the world, has been severely affected. Many clubs around the world are facing an existential crisis. Fans in most leagues are yet to be allowed back inside the stadiums. This has further impacted clubs' finances, with gate receipts critically important for the smaller clubs. While the likes of Man United, Real Madrid, PSG, Manchester City and other top giants can go on without being able to generate revenue through ticket sales, the same can't be said about the smaller teams that already have to fight very hard for their survival. But this doesn't mean that the bigger teams are far away from a potential financial catastrophe. We don't know when the world will become normal again, so in such an uncertain situation, you can understand why a lot of big teams are trying to be a little bit frugal when it comes to signing players in the recently concluded transfer window. The same can be said of Real Madrid, who chose not to make any major waves. Last summer, Los Blancos ended up signing Eden Hazard from Chelsea and even bought Luka Jovic. A typical summer at Real Madrid involves prestigious signings amid a lot of fanfare, so it seemed rather strange that Madrid didn't welcome any big name to the Santiago Bernabeu. The club's fans and outsiders have come to expect massive signings. Moreover, it was even more surprising to see that Zinedine Zidane did not show any sign of disappointment after the club decided not to go for another spending spree. The Frenchman understands the situation in hand and is seemingly happy with the options he has at his disposal. Due to the current financial climate, Spanish football isn't in a very good place. While the broadcast money is there, it's not enough to take care of the wage bills in its entirety, and the sort of wage bill Real Madrid have, they always needed to make a few hard decisions in the summer. Madrid wanted to raise enough money in order to give themselves a financial cushion that could see them ride out the looming economic crisis that's already threatening the way football's being run these days. That's why Zidane decided to let go of talented fullback Ashraf Hakimi. The Moroccan international joined Inter Milan for €40 million, with the price expected to reach around €45 million in add-ons. Oscar was sold to Sevilla for €15 million, Javi Sanchez to Real Valladolid for €3 million, De Frutos and Dani Gomez for €2.5 million to Levante, Baeza signed for Celta Vigo for €2.5 million, and Alberto Soro was allowed to leave for Granada for €2.5 million. These departures were pretty much expected since Zidane never wanted to manage a bloated squad anyway. Hakimi's transfer still baffles us, since the youngster became one of the most promising fullbacks in the continent after 2 great years at German outfit Borussia Dortmund. Nonetheless, you have to see it from Zidane's perspective. The French tactician is happy with the likes of Ferland Mendy and Marcelo at left-back. This is also why Sergio Reguilón was eventually sold to Tottenham Hotspur for €30 million. The young Spaniard spent a great season on loan at Sevilla, but was never going to break into the first team. However, if things turn out well after a couple of years, Real Madrid have a buyback clause. But these aforementioned transfers were never enough to take care of the wage bill. Brahim Diaz, who joined the club from Man City, signed a 1-year loan deal with AC Milan, while Dani Ceballos decided to continue playing for Arsenal. The midfielder is not likely to return anytime soon. James Rodriguez's career at Real Madrid was effectively over. The Colombian spent the most part of that playing on loan for Bayern Munich, so a move away from Spain was badly needed. The elegant forward is reunited with Carlo Ancelotti at Everton and has made a really good start to life in the Premier League. Borja Mayoral left for Italy, while Japanese wonder kid Takefusa Kubo has joined Villarreal on loan, with the Yellow Submarine entitled to pay Madrid €2.5 million for the deal. Vallejo stays at Granada for another loan spell, while Renier is going to spend the next 2 seasons on loan at Borussia Dortmund. Zidane's own son, Luka, has left once his contract expired, while Alphonse Areola returned to PSG after Madrid decided not to renew terms. But perhaps the biggest bit of news was that Real Madrid were finally able to get Gareth Bale off their backs for a while. The Welsh international was one of the top earners at the club, and at the age of 31 and with several fitness issues, was never going to feature regularly. Zidane had also lost faith in the winger, who has now returned to Tottenham, where he's yet to make his debut. Bale does intend to see out the remaining 2 years of his contract at the Bernabeu, so let's see how this particular drama unfolds. Regardless, Madrid have done well to raise nearly €100 million from player sales, which is a remarkable feat. Who thought that a day would come when of all the clubs in the world, Madrid would have to sell their assets in order to stay afloat? The footballing world would be upside down, but that doesn't stop anyone from subscribing to our channel, right? By now you must have seen all the great content we post on a daily basis. So go on, hit the subscribe button. Right, getting back to where we were. Well, it isn't Real Madrid who've been forced into acting out a character this summer. Bitter rivals Barcelona have problems of their own. Their biggest success of the summer transfer window was to keep a hold of star player Lionel Messi. The legendary forward was desperate to leave Camp Nou and had reportedly already agreed a lucrative deal with Man City. However, Bartomeu had one last trick left and the president was able to force Messi to stay. Messi leaving really would have helped the club's wage bill, but I guess it was purely a case of damned if you do and damned if you don't. And Bartomeu decided that he didn't want to be remembered as the man who allowed one of the greatest players in football history to leave the club. At least, not under such controversial circumstances. Before the 2019-20 season concluded, Barcelona already announced the departure of Artur Melo to Juventus, with Miralem Pjanic heading the other way. Those deals were concluded in order to allow Barcelona to stay on the right side of the UEFA financial fair play regulations. However, that was never going to be enough for the club to avoid a potential financial situation. Ivan Rakitic was allowed to leave the club for Sevilla after reportedly turning down the chance to sign for an unnamed club in the Premier League. We're going to speculate that it was Man United, since the Red Devils are linked with every player on the planet these days. Martin Braithwaite was also linked with a move away from Camp Nou, but the Denmark international has stayed. Chilean midfielder Arturo Vidal had a host of admirers from the Premier League, but the former Bayern man signed up for Inter Milan, where he's going to be a vital member of Antonio Conte's revolution at the San Siro. Nelson Semedo never really impressed in a Barca jersey, and the Portugal international has signed for Premier League high flyers Wolverhampton Wanderers. Wolves had already sold Diogo Jota, and they needed to keep their Portuguese quota up. Carles Perez was sold to AS Roma for €11 million. Marc Cucurella signed for Getafe for €10 million, while Jean-Claire Todibo signed for Benfica for €2 million. Luis Suarez wanted to stay at the club, but the Uruguayan was forced out of Camp Nou and left on a free for Atletico Madrid. Is it a grave mistake? Time will tell. Rafinha never got enough minutes on the pitch anyway, and the Brazilian has joined Paris Saint-Germain on a free transfer. In total, Barcelona let go of 14 players this summer, which showcases how badly they needed to take care of their wage bill. But even though they did manage to raise some cash through transfers, Barcelona spent a similar amount of money on new players. On paper, Pjanic cost them €60 million. Trincao left Braga to join in a €31 million deal. Barca also paid €7 million to Palmeiras in order to get their hands on Mateus Fernandes. Throughout the summer, the club was chasing the signature of US international Serginho Dest. The young right-back eventually left Ajax for Barca in a €21 million deal. But one of the club's biggest failures in the transfer market was their inability to sign Memphis Depay from Olympique Lyonnais. The Dutchman had reportedly agreed personal terms with Ronald Koeman's team, but the Blaugrana eventually didn't have enough reserves to make the move. In total, Barcelona made a profit of only €2.5 million if you take into account the income over expenses side of things. Nonetheless, the club's wage bill looks to be in a better shape now that the likes of Rakitic, Suarez and Vidal are gone. Even then, this might not be enough. For several months, there have been a lot of rumours circulating about the respective futures of Samuel Umtiti and Ousmane Dembele. Umtiti on his day is one of the best defenders in the game. Sadly though, the France international's career has been besieged by constant injury woes. Reportedly, Barcelona were considering reaching an agreement based on which the former Lyon man would rescind his contract if no offers came. Had that happened, the club could have saved some decent amount on his wages. However, nothing happened, and Umtiti is still a Barcelona player. Dembele, on the other hand, has even more serious injury problems to contend with. Throw in his erratic behaviour off the pitch, and Barcelona never got the best out of a player who cost them around €150 million a few years ago. Manchester United were interested in signing the winger, but the player himself wasn't wholly interested in a move to Old Trafford. Just like his fellow countryman, Dembele is still at Barcelona, and therefore the club is left with yet another high earner in the squad who doesn't provide any value for money. Barcelona are eager to sign number 1 Ter Stegen to a long-term contract. The German is looking for a lucrative deal, which complicates things further. Nonetheless, if you look at the current status of their wage bill, the Catalonian giants aren't out of the woods yet. While Real Madrid have done a great job at taking care of their finances, the same can't be said of Barcelona. But then again, the Catalonians have proven to be bad at handling finances in recent years.